So, you guys will see that there are two relatively pale looking dwarves. They've got tattoos down their bodies, very different from the castless tattoos. These are a little bit more. Where the castless tattoos were more angular, these tattoos are a little bit more jagged and splotchier, if that makes sense. And as soon as you arrive, I will allow anyone in the group to say anything before the guards protecting the gate will say anything, if you want to say anything to them.
Whoa.
During any private time beforehand,
Sure.
I think Hallie would kind of gather the group and what do we know about this? I am on fairly unfamiliar grounds here.
Me too.
Yeah. Same.
Theo?
I've never been to Kal-Sharok. I can only tell you what I know, and that's that they don't. They're more isolationist than even us in Orzammar. They're not going to take kindly to us just waltzing in.
Well,
They do trade, but
All right.
I mean, if anything, having me with you might be a hindrance. They don't particularly care for Orzammar or their dwarves. If the king's there, they're not going to care. They're not going to recognize him as a king. So King Kine would be on even footing with us. Okay.
how does Rosakale, how do you get in and out of here? I mean, you said your people are deeper in. How did you get out?
Another way, she says. I would have taken you there if we were to see my people first.
Do you like laugh again?
Theo, if we are concerned that you would not be welcome, is it possible that the king would be in any additional danger?
Possibly, yes. I don't think Kal-Sharok has ever really forgiven us for locking them out during the Blight. I can't see their sympathies being any less stringent.
Very well.
So, do we have a plan? We just hook up.
Do we ever have a plan?
I will say this though, King Kine is a smart man, and he wouldn't have gone into something that he knew he could be killed at the front door. It may be that they agreed to talks.
Potentially.
Do these dwarves have proving grounds? Maybe, I don't know. You could say you're traveling, Andrea, to test your might. As a proving ground, I don't know. I don't know if they would know you here.
I don't know if they would, but I could.
The only reason dwarves are okay to go to the surface now in Orzammar is because of King Kine. It could be that they're still very isolationist. They perhaps haven't gone to the surface that much.
Okay.
Although I would kill to see a mage in one of our proving grounds.
Well, I guess we're just gonna have to see what happens then.
Yeah. And make sure Rosakale looks as human as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
She's got her
So,
mask. So.
She does have her mask on. So, you all will approach the gates, and what do you say unless you want them to speak first?
I'm at a loss here, so I'm not going to say anything.
Greetings.
Yeah, hello there,
I
friends.
I trust Vala.
The dwarves respond back. I'm sorry, I don't know Dwarven, so they'll respond back in Dwarven. As they
It's just a greeting, like hello. I think.
and they will respond. What business do you have down here?
Well, I have received word that our king is visiting Kal-Sharok.
Ah, yes, your king. He was here.
And now he's not.
He left a few days ago.
Oh.
Left to where?
I do not know. All I know is that he went to speak with the Paragon elect. And he left shortly after that.
Was there anyone with him? Like maybe a handsome fella?
He had several of his men, I guess that he would call them bodyguards, with him.
Anyone with like really bouncy hair, human?
I was about to say that. Did he have something bouncy hair?
Without any amusement, the other guard says, no.
Okay.
He did not have anyone of that description.
Okay.
Right.
Where would the Paragon elect be found?
Within our walls, you have business with him.
With my king, I have business with. That's why it's of importance that I find him.
Roll a diplomacy roll, Theoben, to see if you can talk your way through this.
Okay.
Communication.
My rolls have
I'm
been
assuming
so good.
your charges, all of your charges are recharged. You took a 15-minute rest, so just as an FYI.
Okay.
I don't know if that's something that I can help with in this case.
Well, let me know before I roll. It is.
Well, if you would like the help and if I'm allowed to give it, I'd be very, very happy to.
You're welcome to.
Alright, add a d4.
Add a d4.
19.
Yeah.
There, he will say, I will go see if you will be allowed to enter into Kal-Sharok's walls. Know, however, that we are very particular about who comes inside. We are picky enough as it is when we bring in people of our own heritage, other dwarves out of character. I cannot promise that the Paragon elect will be interested in speaking with anyone besides you, specifically, he says to Theoben.
Understood. You may announce that I have arrived with companions, but if he sees fit to talk to me alone, then I will speak with him.
Wait here. He will go inside. After about 20 minutes, he will return. And because of the 19, he will say, we will allow you inside of we will allow you and your companions inside of Kal-Sharok. However, we will ask that you leave all your weapons behind with us. If they do not agree with those terms, then they can stay out here.
Well, I don't have any weapons, so I'm cool.
It's your choice. You guys can decide how you want to do this. If you want to go in, whoever wants to go in, you have to leave your weapons behind. Otherwise, you stay out here.
Including here? It's clear.
Theo, they will allow you with a weapon, but only a weapon
Yeah,
And
just the bow on his back, basically.
yes, and he will tell you that you will have to be escorted
Hmm.
by two other dwarves just to make sure you don't do anything funny.
Okay. Well, then Theo will kind of look to the group and see what their reaction is to that.
She's stone-faced, but she's not gonna let Theo go alone.
Okay? So you will leave your weapons behind?
Yeah.
Okay.
She silently starts removing all of her.
Okay.
Knife,
Shoot,
sword. Yeah.
Just lay it on the table.
A
in
little
front.
silly.
Andrea, are you
Okay.
going in?
I think I should. I mean, I don't need weapons, you know. I'm just a lady.
All right. Cedric will start taking off his weapons.
Okay. And how about Kenna?
Yeah, I'll give up my bow and arrow and my skin and knife.
The bear has to stay here.
Well, then I take back my bow and my skin and knife.
It's all right. You and maybe Rosie stay here.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
You can watch over
Rozzy
the
has a.
weapons.
You can't see her face, but you can kind of sense that she's seething at the moment. She doesn't like it here at all.
I'll
Not
stay with
like it
Rozzy
here.
and the bear. You
Okay.
guys go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Good
right.
luck.
We'll start with the 4 that goes in. So you enter into Kal-Sharok. Now, this place is just as impressive looking as Orzammar, but it's not as warm feeling as Orzammar is. There definitely is a big contrast. The color palette, at least like in Dragon Age games, Orzammar has a lot of oranges, it has a lot of warm hues. Here, it's not like black, like it's not like dark,
Mhm.
but the hues are colder down here. And the dwarves here again are very pale. They kind of have a semi-sickly look to them, although they're muscular and burly. I think that the people of Kal-Sharok are actually, in general, more muscular and more burly than the dwarves or Orzammar. And many of them are watching you all very distrustfully. They clearly do not like outsiders here. You are being escorted, however, by these guards, so nobody gives you a problem.
Mhm.
And they will take you into this grand building, which looks like sort of like an assembly house kind of building.
Mhm.
And they will end up fetching a dwarf. Now this dwarf emerges.
Oh man, he's awesome! Look at that
Yeah,
mohawk.
that is
That's
really
him.
Delightful.
So he's coming in. He doesn't have his axes out, but he has them sheathed. But he comes out. He's again pale gray skin, tattoos. He's got like the mohawk and everything with the big long red beard. And
yeah.
he will say he said the guard will say, I present to you Paragon elect Lylef. I'll add this to your Lylf. I'll add this to your journals.
Mhm.
There you go. I just added him to your journals. Paragon elect Lylf Azaharg. Lylf Azaharg.
Right.
You will address the Paragon elect with respect, he says, as they again give a dwarven not a bow, but they give like a little pound to their chest when the Paragon elect arrives in. He sort of like waves them away to not to leave the room, but just to back off a bit. I see I have more of Orzammar's children at my door, along with surfacers.
You are correct. That is what you see.
I've already spoken to your king. What more do you need of me?
Well, we've actually come here for the king. We had no idea that he had already left.
A few days ago.
Yes. It is of importance that we find him.
Is he missing?
We, I would not know. Kal-Sharok was the first I heard of the king's whereabouts. And we know that he last spoke with you.
He's looking very impatient right now, like either get to the point or he's just going to dismiss you because he doesn't seem to be very interested in this conversation.
Do you know where he is?
I don't know where he is.
My lord,
He turns to you.
would you know which direction he went? Which path he took?
Roll a diplomacy, because I don't know if he's necessarily outright interested in talking to a non-dwarf.
Yep.
So you're gonna have to convince him to speak with you, or even even recognize your existence, so to speak. 14? Yeah. He will not lash out at you, but he will then turn to Theoben and says, "If we're going to continue dwarven matters, I would much prefer speaking privately with the dwarf, if you do not mind," he says.
As you wish. I'm sure my companions would be fine being escorted out while we talk. Eyeballs the group.
She's looking unhappy at separating Theo from everybody else, but she's keeping her tongue very carefully.
I'll be fine, Hallie.
He kind of shoos you all away.
Okay.
The guards will take you. When you leave, the Lyolf Azaharg says, tell me again why you're not wasting my time here. I do not know where your king is. We just talked very briefly about him trying to reestablish relations with Kal-Sharok. I told him that we have no interest in such things. We have been able to take care of ourselves for almost a century. However, if he wished to prove his worth, Orzamar's willingness to help us, we do not need anyone's help, but if he decides to take care of something for us, then we certainly would consider the prospect of reestablishing such ties.
Could he have gone to achieve that, acquire that, whatever it is?
Possibly. We have been having some extremely bothersome activity with the Darkspawn down here lately. It's been very odd, to the point that we have become concerned. We informed Kine of this abnormality and told him to go take care of the situation as soon as possible. If he was able to bring back the head of their leader, then yes, we will consider taking the relationships back between Kal-Sharok and Orzammar.
The leader. This leader special in some way? Why would
Yes.
his head be worth it?
I do not know if you would necessarily believe this. Believe what you will. But these Darkspawn have begun talking. They have minds of their own. They're smarter, and that makes them dangerous.
How disturbing. Darkspawn talking?
I know. I didn't believe it at first. They have a leader, however. A leader that calls himself the Architect.
And King Kine, you believe, has gone to acquire the head of this architect?
I do not know. I told him that they have been bothersome, and if they were able to acquire the head of the architect and bring him back to us, then yes, we can start negotiating terms between Kal-Sharok and Orzammar. That is probably where he went, but I do not know. He is a young king, naive. I doubt that he would know truly what to do given such a situation. As I said, these Darkspawn are smart, they're crafty, dangerous.
Indeed. And where might these talking darkspawn be located?
We believe we know where their hideout is. Some of my scouts have noticed some great activity from within. That is probably the direction he went if he decided that he would be capable of taking down the architect.
Right. And if we were to chase after Kine's location, we would go which direction?
Go out from the gates. You will need to make your way back out from whence you came. There is a tunnel, I believe, around the bend. He'll give you directions.
Okay.
Which is probably the tunnel that Razakel would have taken you out of character.
I thought so.
He will give you directions.
Okay. Excellent. Well, it certainly wasn't in our interest to disturb. We simply wanted to follow after our king.
I must warn you, though, dwarf. These Darkspawn, like I said, do not take what they say at face value. They speak, therefore they lie. It's so much easier taking care of the Darkspawn when they were mindless beings who couldn't talk. The fact that they actually can speak now, it makes people who encounter them vulnerable. They believe that they can be reasoned with. Such ideas are dangerous.
They speak. Are they attempting to make contact with you? Or are they just killing your men?
He said, we have been having problems with Darkspawn in general lately. And yes, they have killed some of my men.
So the talking darkspawn are launching an attack? Or defense?
They have been attacking, yes.
Right. Okay, understood. It sounds very, very concerning. I agree.
It's what they do.
Yes. Yes, I know. I know that's what they do. You don't have to tell me. Well, thank you for your help, for your information. One last question. You haven't, this may sound strange, you haven't seen a tall, human, blonde fellow around Kal-Sharok at all? Goes by the name of Sevian.
Tall, blonde human named Sevian. Sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
No. I have not had the displeasure of such a thing.
Okay. It's fine. We heard that the chap might have been on his way, but if not, that's fine. I shall...
Kalnath gat Parthas. Kalnath par Kalak. Out of character, roughly translated, that is family into peace, family through war. Normally, in Orzammar, the order of that is swapped.
Mm-hmm.
Family through war, family into peace. But he's saying family into peace, family through war.
Right. Okay. Atras Tunsha, Paragon elect. And he will nod, and he will await permission to leave, and then walk out.
Yes. He will give you permission to leave.
Okay. And he'll rejoin his group.
Okay. Meanwhile, while this is happening, Kenna and Razakel. You're outside. Razakel is very antsy. She does not like it here at all. And she's sort of like pacing around. And then she turns to Kenna and she says, Kenna, I do not like it here.
I don't like it either, but we have to wait for everyone. Look, let's just calm down. How about, are you hungry?
She says, a little hungry. The last encounter was very nerve-wracking.
I agree. And I'll take my staff and make the berries, 2 berries, but I'll make them taste like those the apple what were they called, Hark? The
Oh, the
apple,
custard apples.
You custard apples. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
I'll make
yes.
them taste like custard apples.
Okay.
Custard apples. Actually, I'll make 3, one for Esbjorn too.
Nice. She will take the berry and then she will try it. This tastes just like the custard apple.
It does, doesn't it? There you go.
Where did you get this berry? Or did she do it in front of her?
Yeah,
or
I did it in front of her.
You have great gift, Kenna.
It is it's the staff, actually. It's not me. The staff's been passed down for generations. So you can thank the gods. Thanks, gods.
Passed down to you from your family.
Yes. Every Thane who's ever led my hold has carried this staff.
You have a king or queen.
My mother was. And I was going to try to be one. I didn't get that opportunity, though.
It might not be too late.
That would be nice if it wasn't.
Many things would be nice, yes. World is not always so nice. The world can be very cruel sometimes.
Yes, it can. And I'll pet my bear.
Theobin, you will rejoin at least the companions outside of the assembly building. You've just finished your thing, and I guess if you want to, you can, to help Sam out, maybe you'll discuss with the group outside.
Yeah, I figured, I didn't think they would talk about
Okay.
this inside the walls.
Okay.
So.
Right.
So, for everybody's convenience, we'll assume that you make your way back outside of the gates of Kal-Sharok, and you can have whatever it is you want to say once you leave the gates. Right now, however, you're in front of the guards, just so you know.
And weapons returned and all that, I assume?
Yes, you can take your weapons back.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you. Good sirs. We'll be off. Says to the guards.
Okay, you can be off.
Yep. And he'll group away. Until they're out of sight. Oh, he was a cranky pants.
Lovely fellow. Lovely fellow.
That beard though. Wow.
And that mohawk.
Very nice mohawk.
It's like it's like a sideways cane hair.
Well, it looks like Razakel's going to get her wish. We need to go to where her people are hiding. Because that's where Kain's going.
Oh,
Why?
Yeah, that
She
doesn't sound
says.
good.
Yeah,
Why does your king want to go to our people?
Because Kal-Sharok refused to negotiate with Orzammar for improved relations unless he finds the root of the issue with the Darkspawn that they've been having. Talking Darkspawn have been attacking them, apparently.
attacking them.
Not the other way around.
I asked, apparently, we don't know how reliable he is. He is obviously biased against Darkspawn.
It
But-
is a lie,
Obviously.
Razakel says.
Exactly. So I don't know how accurate you want to take him at his word, but I asked if it was offensive or defensive, and he said that they were attacking them.
I just
Hmm.
I would go to trust Razi in this situation. This is some stranger.
I know Razikel. I don't know her people. I'm reserving judgment until I've seen them. With
Yes,
due-
but she does. So I trust her enough to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Me too. I'm not. I'm just telling you what he's told me. All right.
Yep.
We don't need to.
I'm not
Vicky.
trying to do anything.
What I'm about to say Kine has been told that he will not that he will not improve relations with Kal-Sharok unless he brings the head of their leader.
The Black King?
No. Apparently he's called the Architect.
The father, Raziel says. Your king has been sent to kill the father.
Who's the father?
She will say something in a language that you'd understand, but in ancient Tevin for both Andrea and
Theo.
Theo, it's basically like the word is for basically like creator or builder or father or architect. It could be translated roughly into any of those four.
So he made you able to talk
He woke us up.
from the calling.
The Black King is the leader of our separate sect, our group, our specific group. But he is where we all came from. This architect, as you call him.
Is the architect good or bad?
He is like me, she says. Neither.
With free-thinking Darkspawn comes the ability for them to choose whether they are good or evil.
Agreed.
He tries to do good as much as possible, but if forced, may do bad for the greater good.
I understand that.
And I will say, Raziel, that I can describe our king the exact same way. He will always try to do good, unless he's forced not to. Do not... Until we have more information, I don't think we should presume that Kine will go through with this.
That's fair.
How long ago was he sent on this mission?
He's been gone 2 days.
Then we need to hurry, because we're
Well,
behind.
a few days. You don't know if it's 2.
a few
days. Then we need to go to my people fast.
Yes.
Agreed.
I knew we should have gone to them first, Raziel says with a little bit of anger in her voice.
If we'd have gone to them first, we wouldn't have known the context. We'd have been unprepared, information-wise. We know what we're up against. We will go.
Okay. So, you guys will go back from whence you came.
Mm-hmm.
Your horses are fine.
Yay!
Raziel will take you around the bend of the mountains. She will take you to a completely different entrance. Another secret entrance into the deep roads.
Mm-hmm.
She will take you through some winding tunnels. Now you will be traveling for about a day through the deep roads. You'll be traveling for about a day.
Right.
Just for the sake of time, we'll just continue on to the next day.
Sure.
Mhm.
Roughly in the middle of the following day, you will arrive at another gate. Now this looks like another gate into a taig, but it's more dilapidated. It's not nearly as well kept, for example, as the one in Kal-Sharok.
Uh-huh.
And there appear to be 2 Darkspawn guards standing there. And when they look up towards your group, they immediately remove the spears, unsheath their spears, and as soon as that happens, Raziel will put her hands up in front of the rest of the group and start speaking to them in ancient Tevin. Nistankin tasika tostupante broncanto pasampenti sugitata sukatipa. And they have this exchange back and forth between the two. And after a little bit, the guards look up and down to the rest of the group. They will put down their spears. They won't sheath them, but they'll put it down on the ground, and they will part. They will part
Straight
to
no
let you in. Razakale will start to lead the group through the doors. The Darkspawn are still keeping an eye on you guys as well, as they do
Sure.
not trust you, understandably so.
Right.
Especially if somebody just came in trying to kill their architect. So,
I think it's safe to say that Cedric's keeping an eye on them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you enter into the tide, and you see something that I don't think any of you would have necessarily been able to imagine, at least not before this adventure started. But the Tig is filled with other Darkspawn citizens, and they are busting around in their day-to-day as if they were actual people, moseying around in their day-to-day. And there are Darkspawn people going back and forth. There are a few of them, doing trade. Like, there's like a cart set up where like it looks like they're selling some baubles and pieces of nug and things of that nature.
Oh, I'll be over there.
This is like a small Darkspawn city. Small Darkspawn city.
Oh, that's an image
Very
I don't
interesting.
want to.
It's a very, very bizarre image. When you guys are passing through, the Darkspawn stop what they're doing and they look towards your direction. Most of the people here in the city are not armed. They don't have any weapons. So they look at you, look in your direction, and they stop and they pause, and there's like a silence, an eerie silence in this square, the Tig Square, as you guys pass by. Razakale doesn't seem to be phased. She's just leading the group forward. It looks like she's like beelining it. She knows where she wants to go, and she's going head straight for there.
Okay.
Cedric would just be sticking close to her then,
Yeah.
but still on guard.
Theo's checking out what they're selling.
I mean, like I said, it's like just junk, random junk, but probably the nicest thing they're selling is nug, like nug for
Okay.
eating.
Interesting. So they haven't really been plundering, looting, or otherwise stealing. They've been using whatever they can find.
For the most part, yeah.
Interesting.
So you guys continue on, and then you end up in their version of the assembly, their assembly building, basically. Again, it's more rundown, more dilapidated. This is a Tig that this group has sort of like moved into. Razakale is talking to the people, the guards, and the doors will open for you. She will motion to all of you to tell you all to stay here, and she will go up into one of the rooms. The guards will continue watching, or the Darkspawn guards will continue watching you. Eventually, a tall figure emerges down the stairs. Very recognizable
Mhm.
for many of you who've played the games.
Yeah, I might replay it after this.
Yeah.
The architect, first of all, you're very surprised by how tall this creature is, but he remains standing up very straight, and you can get an air of this is the guy who's in charge. At least in this place, this is the guy that's in charge. The architect speaks in a very deep and raspy voice and says, "Greetings, friends of the Black Maiden. She has spoken much about you."
Black Maiden.
Thank you.
That is not what we call her here. That is a rough translation of what we call her here, the Black Maiden.
See.
Thank you for the welcome, sir. And I bow.
I apologize that our hospitality is very limited. We do not have very much resources here for guests.
That's fine by me.
Indeed.
I suppose you all are probably very confused as to how all of us here are speaking, that is probably the first question in your minds. I'm not sure how much the Black Maiden has told you, or how much she has been able to tell you, given the language barrier.
But he's just Theo's going to say in Ancient Tavine. What language barrier?
Very impressive, Child of the Stone. Perhaps some of the Black Maiden has rubbed off on some of you.
Yes.
Wasn't my choice.
I wish to at first thank you for keeping her safe. She has been given a very important mission, and I see that she has succeeded in making some allies for us. You have seen a taste of what we are trying to build down here, yes?
Yes.
I'm assuming you all have questions. I will try to answer them as best as I can.
Theo looks just incredibly uncomfortable. He's not even making eye contact with the architect. So he's going to be a bit down and out with this one.
No worries.
Esbjorn is very uncomfortable, so
Yeah,
he's
so
kind of
is
growling
Kenna.
a little bit.
Yeah, Kenna's sort of like holding her bear.
Razakel will actually comfort Esbjorn a little bit.
No.
So
Aw. Yeah, a few questions. Has there been an attack here within the last couple days?
there have been constant attacks here from the dwarves of Kal-Sharok.
Any attack from dwarves that aren't from Kal-Sharok? Maybe look a little bit more like this one over here?
Not to my knowledge, no. Though the attacks from Kal-Sharok stopped within the last week or so.
Within the last
There has been no incident within the last week or so.
Does the name King Kine ring any bells with you?
King Kine. I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that name.
Oh, okay. How are you speaking? I don't get it.
He says, "It is, in your words, something that could be referred to as the awakening. The Darkspawn, as you probably know them, are drawn by the calling. It is a song that is sung by the Archdemon. It calls to all of us. Such is the part of the curse that was brought upon us many, many, many years ago. The Grey Wardens, as you know, are champions who are trained specifically to take out the Darkspawn and end the Blight. Understandably so. What you may not know, though, is that they contain other powers as well. Other abilities that gives them the ability to do this effectively in what they refer to as the joining. I discovered how they did the joining. It essentially requires them to drink the blood of a Darkspawn, thus taking in the taint within them. This greatly lowers their lifespan, but it gives them powers of the Darkspawn, including being able to hear the calling. That is why in their later years, when the taint has contained them immensely, do they go down to the deep roads until they finally die of the taint. I came up with another method of awakening them, which requires drinking the blood of a Grey Warden. Doing so allows us to be able to be immune to the calling of the Archdemon.
Might I ask where you're getting this Grey Warden blood from?
I will not lie to you. Grey Wardens do not normally shed their blood willingly. The first time that I had tried, it was not willingly. I will admit to that. However, since then, we have found ways of doing so without having to kill the host. The last sources of darkspawn of warden blood have been voluntary, starting with a warden by the name of Belim, Sir Belim the Blade. Those of you out of character should know who Sir Belim the Blade is.
Yep.
Last we saw him, he was down in the Deep Roads. Belim the Blade, however, is no longer with us. In his place, somebody else has decided to stay here to donate some of his blood during certain intervals, willingly. When you say that, you hear a voice call out and say, Andrea? Do you know who it is?
It's good old Fergie.
Fergus. Fergus enters into the chamber in his Grey Warden. I would stop there, but I'll keep going. We'll keep the session going.
Oh, you
We'll
suck
keep the
so
session
bad.
going. No, we're not going to stop there. We'll keep going.
Fergus?
Andrea, is that really you? He says. Fergus looks... Now, he's been tainted. He's a Grey Warden. He's a Grey Warden. So he looks a little bit more... less color in his cheeks, but he's standing and breathing. He goes over towards you and he gives you a hug.
Yes?
Thank the Maker, I didn't realize you were still alive.
Likewise?
Yeah. Dogpile, I'm sorry, she's...
see that you know each other, the architect says. She is architect. She's an old friend.
You remember Hallie too?
He turns towards you.
That's probably a good time because she was about to barrel right into them.
Yeah. He didn't recognize you right away, obviously.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
So
that happens.
So he
a
turns
lot.
towards you and he says, "Hallie,
Glomp.
is that really? Oh!" He says as you get attacked.
Yeah.
Is that
She's
really
probably
you?
gonna catch Andrea too.
Yes, okay. Group hug. Okay.
Group hug.
Okay.
I'm sorry I didn't recognize you. It's you look so different.
You're alive.
Well, in a matter of speaking, yes, he says. I'm a Grey Warden, so I believe I'm in a little bit of borrowed time.
Of course.
It seems that you all probably have a lot of catching up to do, the architect says. I can either leave to let you catch up or continue answering your questions. It is up to you.
Whether you stay or whether you go, I have one question. You're alive. Question, yes. How large is this community?
Currently, this particular tie consists of approximately 45 darkspawn. We have another Tig that is led by who we refer to as the Black King. To be quite honest, he gave himself that name. We didn't give it to him. At any rate, the Black King is actually the Tig where Razakael is originally from. She volunteered for this mission.
And
the Black King's Tig has... Let me switch those numbers around. We'll say that there's about 80 darkspawn here and about 45 darkspawn with the Black King right now. We'll say 80 and 45. We have been losing quite a good number of them, not only from the dwarves of Kal-Sharok, but also the other Darkspawn as well, who have been trying to take this Tig. I do not think they appreciate us converting them.
Probably not.
This is dangerous information for you to be giving us, so thank you for trusting us with it.
You can thank Fergus. He has been extremely helpful to us. Him and his friend Belim, while he was with us. Yes, Belim. He was a good friend of mine, actually.
Sorry.
Yes.
It's quite all right. You notice that sheathed behind Fergus is a ginormous axe, a really big axe.
That axe, I'm telling you.
Yes, that axe.
Yep.
That's a sweet axe there that Fergus has. Fergus and his sweet axe.
Just those 2 Tigs, then. That's all your people.
Just those 2 Tigs, yes.
How far away is the other one?
Half a day's travel from here.
Have you had any grief from Orzammar?
Not that I am aware of. The only dwarves I've noticed were the pale tattooed ones. I have not seen, nor have my scouts said anything about, and not any other dwarves down here in the Tigs, or in the deep roads. That, then again, they haven't been actively looking for anyone specifically. If you wish to look for this... Did you tell him King? Did you tell him King?
Kine. Yeah, King Kine.
If you wish for us to try to look for this king, we can. However, our span is limited with the other hostile Darkspawn around. It could very well be that he might have ended up getting into complications with them.
But your scouts haven't seen any dwarves that might have been from the king.
Not from Orzammar, as far as I know. So the king is here, Fergus says. The king of Orzammar is here somewhere?
We don't know. We've been told he was headed this way, but he's not been here. I don't know where we go from here.
I can try to send my scouts and see if they can find any out of the ordinary darkspawn activity.
That might be a wise idea. We might also need to review your fighters. Because if the king has not yet arrived, I fear he will.
You think that he will pose as a threat to us?
We can't
Do
know.
you think that perhaps the king can be reasoned with?
I think he can.
I
I
would
think-
prefer that.
We're also looking for a human.
Yeah.
Who might be going after the king.
Yes. Blonde.
We certainly have not seen any other humans other than you, he says, looking at Halasair and Cedric.
He smells like perfume.
Then we definitely have not seen anyone like that.
Perhaps for the best.
We have been trying to... Fergus has been trying to recruit more Grey Wardens to our cause. However, understandably so, he doesn't feel that most of them would be open to forming an alliance with us.
Well, it is their job to kill them.
It is our job to end the Blight, Fergus says, which is precisely what Bellum and I are trying to do.
You've a point.
he sits down. Sorry, he says. I'm a little weak today. My transfusion this morning. With that, one of the dark spawns, like in the room, like comes over with a tray and gives him some pieces of bread to eat. Thank you, Maven, he says as he takes the piece of bread and he starts eating it. The dark spawn, the other female dark spawn mods, says, and then leaves.
Can I do a heal
leaving
check
him
on
with
him?
the tray. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks so out of place. It's like
Yeah.
it's so. This is so out of the ordinary for him. It's like mind blowing.
Yeah, Hallie's a little thrown too.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So
It deals with mages, not this.
17. Yeah.
I mean, he has the taint, but he has the taint like the Grey Wardens have the taint. He's weakened from loss of blood, but
Could I maybe
it's like
heal him?
It's like
with magic?
I don't think you. It's not a wound really.
Okay.
I mean, a wound was used to donate the blood, give the transfusion.
Okay.
But really, all he needs is just some sugar and nourishment. A lot of it is just sugar, and he just needs to get more blood sugars, which is why they gave him like pieces of bread, carbs.
Okay. Very good.
He'll be fine. Obviously, he doesn't want to go through another blood transfusion today.
Yeah.
So,
How long have you been down here?
down here, several months now, since Belim sent for me. He told me about his findings. I, of course, told him I would like to see it before I believed it. Of course, I was a little uncomfortable down here, as you can imagine, but after speaking with the architect and being amongst the darkspawn down here, the awakened ones, I think that what Belim and the architect started is ultimately a good thing. If we can get these darkspawn to reason, perhaps then we might be able to find some sort of peace down in the deep roads, not only for the darkspawn, but also for the dwarves too, which would then benefit the surface as well, so they no longer have to worry about any future blights.
It is a beautiful plan.
Yeah, in a fairy
And
world.
will take a lot of work.
Of course, the people at Weishaupt, I don't think the Grey Wardens are ready to start opening a vein for the darkspawn, even if it's not to take their life. I have to be very, very careful about who I trust with such information if I were to try to recruit some of the Grey Wardens here. Most would say that it would be a very traitorous thing. Not that I really care so much as it ends up helping all of Thedas in the long run. Of course, that's probably me just being idealistic and naive.
Yes.
But there you have it.
It's what we've always liked about you.
As for the dwarves, I'm not sure if they are necessarily ready for an alliance with the Darkspawn either. There's been a lot of history with them as well. But I have to say that I admire the architect for at least.
I agree.
Yes.
I think what you're doing is noble.
We hoped that the people of Kal-Sharok would agree as well. We have sent some messengers to him, but they have all been struck down at the site, even when they were trying to speak to them.
Yep.
We think that us speaking them has made them even more threatening towards us. They do not trust us.
Yes. They believe now that you are even more of a threat.
Now that we are thinking, I guess, in the strictest sense, I cannot disagree. You are the allies that the Black Maiden has recruited. What is your recommendation?
That's a difficult question. There are many roads to consider.
Some deeper than others.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, Theo believes that King Kine can be reasoned with. I would believe that Theo is right. As for Kal-Sharok, my vibe from the Paragon Elect was he probably can't be reasoned with.
If Kal-Sharok cannot be reasoned with, but Orzammar can be reasoned with, then perhaps what would be best would be to uproot ourselves and move to another Tig closer to Orzammar instead of Kal-Sharok.
Maybe.
That, of course, would be under the permission of your king.
Yes, I was going to say there's nothing we can recommend as far as that course of action. That is down to King Kine.
Yes.
I have no interest in continuing to fight with Kal-Sharok. It is not necessary. We can certainly move elsewhere. We just did not know where to move to, as no matter where we were to go, at this point, we would have enemies everywhere regardless. However, if we were to form an alliance with Orzammar, that could be an option. But I do not want to become super optimistic about that.
There'd be a lot for Kine to consider. Imagine the backlash if the citizens of Orzammar knew. It would. I'm not saying that it's not a noble cause, but I'm not sure if it's a realistic one. If
It
Kine
may not
wants
be
to do
realistic. Go ahead.
If Kine wants to do this, he's going to face so much opposition, I don't know if he'd be able to keep the throne.
Right.
Could place themselves there in secret. He does not have to actually establish relationships with us. We do not necessarily have to trade. He can just let us be there in secret.
Maybe.
But that is completely up to you and him.
It's up to Kine. I have no say in this. That's not my call. It's not our call.
My concern at this point is that Kine is not here yet.
Yes.
So, where is he?
That is a good question. I will send for my scouts and see if we can learn anything. In the meantime,
quickly... Again, please go.
in the meantime, he says, I will continue to hope that we can give my people a second chance. A resurgence unlike any other.
You said it.
I said it.
The
Well, he
word
said
of the
it.
day.
That word keeps popping up every now
So
and then.
strange.
So many times. It keeps popping up.
Is that another magic word that makes our marks glow, or is it just?
No, it does not. You were about to ask something, Halaser, out of
Yeah.
character.
How long will it take you to move your people?
They can get a report back to me within the next 24 hours.
I was
and they
talking
should be
about-
able to
All of your people.
sending all of my people out into the deep road
To like relocate.
Evacuating.
To move.
Yes.
to move.
In case it's needed.
I'm sure we can pack up all of our things within the next 24 hours as well. But I do
24
not
hours.
wish to uproot them unnecessarily.
Of course not.
Understood.
For where were we to go anyway, even if we did?
Speaking from experience, the rest of the world is taught to look at you and kill first and ask questions later. It is only through act of tremendous patience or tremendous heart, and at this point she nods towards Kenna, that will stay a blade. That's going to be a giant hurdle that we need to overcome.
We have decided to remain here in this Tig because it is very well defended. While we are on the move, we are far less capable of defending ourselves.
Of course.
If I might, it sounds to me like your people are under attack from two different factions right now.
They are.
Would you like help against the, unawakened darkspawn?
I was not going to ask for such a thing, but if you are offering, it would be foolish of me to say no.
I see no problem with fighting off some feral darkspawn. If that would help your situation, I would be happy to do that.
The specific group of hostile darkspawn here are led by another creature known as the Mother. If you are able to take out the Mother herself, then that would give us a way out without feeling like we would be completely vulnerable during our move from Kal-Sharok.
Yep.
I know where the Mother rests,
I have a feeling
and I can give you directions there.
I have a feeling she's gonna be really
But-
gross and give me nightmares. I'm sorry. You know where this mother is? Yet
Yes.
haven't made an offensive?
Our forces are not nearly as large as hers. She definitely has the upper hand. We have been able to keep ourselves bunkered down here, especially with Kal-Sharok. I'm sure that her forces have probably been bothering Kal-Sharok City as well. Perhaps if you are able to stop the Mother, and thus the Darkspawn attacking Kal-Sharok, that may give you an extra feather on your cap with those dwarves. An extra bargaining chip.
I like it.
However, this is not something that I am going to ask you to do, especially if you are seeking your king. I'm assuming he probably takes priority.
This mother. She's a darkspawn?
She is. She is a brood mother, specifically. I do not know if you've had any experience with such things. It is because of her brood motherliness that she is able to create more of her forces, which greatly outnumber ours.
Yep, that's what I'm... From a tactical standpoint, she can pump out darkspawn, and we're just 5 people, and your army can't take her out. Sounds like a tough battle.
Yes, and I'm just one Grey Warden, so I've been trying to evangelize as many of them as I can, Fergus says. Sorry.
While I am all for helping your people, I kind of side with Theobin on this one. We are just 5 people. And Andrea, if you are dead set on going, you will have my backing.
I will not force that on you, Cedric. No. No.
You are not forcing anything on me. That is my job. I keep you safe.
Still no.
I will kill Broodmother if pretty goes, Razakale says.
Oh.
She and I have personal business.
On the other hand, what kind of dwarf would I be if there was something out there killing us and I didn't take a move to stop it? Because this mother is not targeting just these people. She would target any and all dwarves as well.
If this Tig falls, it will also open the Mother up to the surface.
That's a problem.
It is. Whether or not it is your problem or not, I will leave it up to you, he says.
Well, It's only a matter of time.
By the sounds of it, yeah.
So, if she is strong enough to take over these tigers, she will spread to the dwarven kingdoms. She will spread to the surface. And a lot more people may be in danger.
You understand our predicament then. We are pincered. On one side, we have the Kal-Sharok dwarves. On the other side, we have the mother. We are pinned where we are, and this is where we have been able to bunker down. But I do not know for how long. That is why it was extremely important for the Black Maiden to come out and seek for help, because our options are weighing thin.
All right.
Razakale looks very resolute about that.
Theoretically, if we went to find this mother, where is she? How long would it take? Where would we need to go?
The most direct route to the mother is 2 days' journey. However, if you want to bypass hordes of darkspawn on the way to her, the Black Maiden can show you another way that will take an extra day to get to her. But it will be the most direct route to her specifically, without engaging into hordes and hordes of her spawn.
This is a lot to think about.
It's not that much to think about. Tactics,
No.
yes, lots to think about.
Of course,
But
this is no easy task.
it is no easy task. But
When do we ever settle for easy?
there is
Can't we
that.
settle once for easy?
No. You know my vote.
I'm unquestioningly with Andrea.
I'm allowed to make a joke, but I am with you.
You're absolutely allowed to make a joke.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm sure we're pretty much playing it like we have death wishes at this point anyway. Why not? Let's go kill the mother.
Take heart, Theo. We've seen heroes.
You've not
Don't
seen a
give
brood mother. You have not seen a
No.
brood mother.
I have not, but I'm
Nor
willing
have
to
I,
bet
but I know
even
them.
us.
If you guys are going and Andrea is going, it is only right for me to join.
We've walked not long through these streets, and we have seen families. Every heart is welcome to love its children. And innocents have the right and the need to be protected.
Yes.
Fergus says, I would join you, but I'm afraid that I am no longer in any capacity to fight. However, he says, if you wish, I can lend you this. And he hands Halisair the ginormous axe.
Well, never admitting to anyone that she might have just peed a little. Does it have a name?
That axe.
Yeah.
I think Bellum just calls it the Blade. His name is Bellum the Blade. That actually,
Blade.
the Blade refers to not him technically, it's more of his weapon. He's very simplistic. He says, my friend Bellum, he was known as Bellum the Blade, but that is actually what he referred to his weapon as, simply the Blade. Straight to the point. I can't blame him for it.
Quite.
I can respect that.
If you want to refer to it as, I, however, in honor of him, refer to it as the Bellum, after
Bellum.
my friend. The Bellum.
It'll
The
be done.
Blade. So he literally is out of character Bellum the Blade.
Yeah. It will be done.
Now, just know that, Halisair, if you're wielding Bellum the Blade, you cannot use your shield.
Understand.
So you have to decide if you want to do the two-handed weapon or sword and shield. It's up to you.
Sure.
Kenna, what is your opinion on this?
About going after the mother,
Yes.
I think it's no brainer. I think we go after her.
Very well.
All right.
All right.
Since everybody's made their decision,
Yep.
I will end the session there.
Awesome.
And if all goes well, yes, you will have Dawnforge cast with you in the next session. So I've spoken with Andrew. Part of the reason why I was doing all that is, can we do Saturday, can we Sunday, is because we were trying to figure out Andrew's schedule. He couldn't do this weekend. I gave him either this session or the next session. He couldn't do the session, so we'll have him in the next session, which is during Labor Day weekend. So you'll get to role play with King Kine, and we'll see what decisions your characters end up making at the end. Because this is a huge decision. As you can see, this is a huge.
This is a big one.